travel more. We go for walks every day. In the summer, we're out on our bikes, cycling, doing different stuff. So it's just, it's a great flexible life.
More and more people want the flexibility to work outside of a traditional office setting. If you're interested in owning more of your time, solopreneurship could be the right path for you. On our Real Solopreneur segment today, we're going to interview Colin Graves. Colin is a solo business owner who specializes in writing and editing. His work has been featured in Time.com, MoneyWise, The College Investor, and many other publications. Today, we're going to discuss how he developed his profitable solopreneur business and the steps others can take to grow theirs as well. Welcome to the show, Colin.
Hey, Andy. Good to be here.
Thank you for being here, man, and thank you for opening
Awesome.
up on your solopreneur journey. I know a lot of folks out there, this can be a new adventure for some, so this could be a great opportunity to learn from somebody who's been doing it for a while. So let's talk about your original origin. What was your motivation for getting started in your original online business?
In my previous career, I was a bank manager for many, many years, but I came to a point where I was completely stuck. I had a new manager come in, and this manager was completely toxic, abusive, that kind of thing. And it wasn't just to me, it was to many of my colleagues. And it was a very difficult situation. And suddenly this wonderful career I had and this great job, I just didn't feel that way anymore. And so I found myself in a place where I had to make a choice. I could leave the company. I love the company I worked for. I could leave the company, go somewhere else. But you could have the same, it could be worse elsewhere, right? You just same crap, different pile kind of thing, right? And and so I felt completely stuck because I was upset about the situation, but I was kind of upset myself because I realized like I was in a situation where someone had so much control over my well-being, my happiness, my emotional well-being, that kind of thing. I thought, how did I put myself in a position where I could allow like one terrible boss to have so much control over my well-being? And so I really felt stuck. And so I remember I was out with a colleague, and he was kind of in the same boat as me. And we were both, single income families and a lot of responsibility. And we were both looking at each other and saying, what can we do? And I remember him saying to me, what can we do about this, Colin? Like, there's nothing we could do. We're completely stuck. And I remember in that moment thinking to myself, I didn't say it to him out loud. I kind of nodded in agreement, but I remember thinking to myself, no, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to find a way. I'm going to create another path. It doesn't, involve just jumping to another company. I've got to create another path, and I'm going to get unstuck. And that's kind of how it started. And,
I love that. Well, let's talk about the beginnings of that online business then, because you had the motivation for sure to get out of there. What was your starting point where you began the business? Well,
so probably several months went by, and I was kind of just trying out some different ideas, doing lots of research, and I came across a blog, a personal finance blog by Mr. Money Mustache, as many bloggers have. And that blog really opened my eyes, because at that point I didn't really know anything about making money online business, blogging, and that was an option, and I knew nothing about it. And so out of that, I just remember reading lots of content and starting to pick up other personal finance blogs. And so I started my own personal finance blog. It was an anonymous blog at the time. And I just started writing. It was I was writing about, family finances, frugal living, that kind of thing. And just kind of based on my journey, my personal experience. And at the same time, I tried to start a couple different side hustles. I tried a music production, tried producing music because I'm a musician and have a recording studio. And so I tried making money doing that. And I just found that some of the side hustles I was doing, I realized these things are not gonna, like, I'm making some good, decent money on the side of my job, but they're not going to become a full-time thing for me. So that was kind of where I started.
And then when specifically did the freelance writing, as you're experimenting there and seeing which ones can make a little bit more money. When did you realize, oh, this could be eventually a decent way to make a living?
Yeah, so I guess a couple things happened. One thing was that to this point, I'd really been motivated. There was like a negative kind of force that was driving me, and that was my experience with this person in my work, right? And so I was really, and that was really motivating me and driving me. But I realized that I also needed something, like I was kind of running away from something, but I needed to be, I needed something to be running towards. And I remember my wife and I, because I was chasing money. I was trying, oh, how can I make some money on the side? And then I remember going out for coffee with my wife, and I remember saying to her, like, what does life look like for us 5 years from now? Or what is our ideal life 5 years from now? And, our kids were teenagers, and we realized that, just in a few years, our lives are going to look quite different. Kids are going to be out of the house, and our values are going to change, right? The 9 to 5 worked for me for many years, but we looked ahead and thought, you know what, 5 years from now, I don't want to be sitting 40 hours a week at a desk job, and looking at another 10, 15 years before I can retire just to chase a pension. And so at the same time, I realized that all these skills that I was learning, I wasn't making very much money with my blog, but all the skills that I'd learned it probably been a year and a half at that point that I was doing it, writing content, social media management, search engine optimization, building and running WordPress websites, content marketing, all that kind of stuff. I realized that bigger bloggers than me and large websites paid teams of people to do this stuff, right? And so I thought, okay, I'm not really making much money blogging myself, but maybe I can start working for bigger websites and I can write and edit content, that kind of thing. And so I remember that was how I got my first, like after that, when I realized that, I reached out and landed my first client a short time later.
I love that. And,
Yep.
and yeah, I mean, if depending on the niche that you're choosing too, the pay can be pretty good when it comes to freelance writing. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I'm sure that there are some niches that don't pay as well as others. Personal finance has always been a pretty lucrative niche for writers and editors. One thing I find is that you have to find, when you're looking for a side hustle that you can build into a full-time business, there's 3 ingredients. You've got to find something that you enjoy doing, because if you're going to spend a lot of time doing it, or if you're going to do it full time, you need to enjoy it. You need to find something that you're good at, or if you're not good at it, if you don't have the experience or the expertise, it has to be something that you can learn. And then it's got to be something that is lucrative enough, that pays enough that you can actually take it full time. And so for me, freelance writing and editing in the personal finance space that was a mix of all those things. I had the experience being a bank manager for over 15 years and a financial advisor before that. And I had developed the skill sets writing my own blog for a couple of years. And then, of course, it was a job that I could take full time from an income standpoint.
That's great. Now, was there a period of time, and I'm probably answering my own question as I'm saying this, where you were working the W-2 job or the full-time job, and then you were doing the side hustle either in the mornings or the evenings? And during that time, were you putting in a lot of hours to make that a reality?
Yeah, you know what? I worked. It took me 4 years from when I landed my first freelance gig to when I walked away from the 9 to 5. So it took some time, and during that time, I put in a lot of hours. Now, one thing, I don't know if you've heard the Jerry Seinfeld quote.
Tell me, please.
I love Jerry. And I love this quote because I think it's very, very true with this kind of subject. It's that your blessing in life is when you find the torture that you're comfortable with. And so when people are like, man, how did you work like 50 hours, 55, 60 hours a week between your job and your freelancing? It's because I had found that thing that I can do day in, day out, 5, 6, 7 days a week. And it's not a problem for me. Like other people they would ask me about what I was doing and they'd be like, oh my goodness, I could never do that. Oh my goodness, that sounds like torture. And for some people it is torture, but for me it was the torture I was comfortable with, right? And so for other people it's going to be something else. There's things that I would hate to do, but someone else can really excel at it.
Can do it all day long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so what was the point in time where you felt comfortable enough to say
Mm-hmm.
goodbye to your full-time job, or are you still working at that full-time job?
No, I left end of September in 2022, so it'll be coming up on 3 years this fall.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
That's
Thank
very
you.
cool.
It's pretty cool because what happened is I had been my income had been increasing, and I've been doing the freelancing on the side, but it was getting harder because I'm making good money on the side, but I don't have the time to take on more because I've got to balance all this with my family life, and that's very important to me and to my wife and my kids. And so that was something that I always had to watch, balancing all this work with my family. And so I was kind of feeling that pinch where, okay, I'm at a place where I can probably make the leap pretty soon, but I'm not quite making enough money on the freelancing yet. And so what happened is, it's interesting. It was July or August of 2022, and I had an idea. There was one of my colleagues at work was approaching retirement, and I thought, I wonder if they'd be willing to do a job share. I thought I should ask them if they'd be willing to go to like share a full-time job half and half. It would kind of help them kind of go into retirement, kind of wean themselves into retirement. And then for me, I could take on more freelance work, and it would kind of be more of a bridge for me. And so I reached out to them. I reached out to my boss. At the time, this was a different boss. And my boss was fully supportive. He thought, yeah, that's fine with me if you guys can make it work, if you agree to it. So I reached out to her, and she was interested. And I remember saying to her, I said, you know what? I've just got to go to this conference. My hope is that I'm going to get one more freelance client out of this conference. And if I do, then I should be ready to go, and we can do this job share. And she's okay. She hadn't made a final decision herself. So I went to FinCon, and I thought, man, one more client and I can jump into this job share, and I can probably 6 months to a year down the road, I can just say goodbye. And I went to FinCon, and I got 4 or 5 new clients at the conference. We're talking like $10,000 a month of work from the conference, probably $8,000 to $10,000 a month from the conference. And I was like, oh my goodness. I came home, I flew home, and I remember saying to my wife, Laura, like, I've got to make a decision here. I can't do this job share. I either have to turn down all of this work, or I have to quit my job. Like, I can't even manage a job share with this. And I remember she instantly, without even hesitating, said, Colin, this is it. It's time. It's go time. We got this. You got this. And we're going to do it. And so a couple of days later, I handed in my resignation. And man, my wife is incredibly supportive, and she always has been. And I can tell you right now, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without her. So.
What a great partner,
Mm-hmm.
man. What a great partner. What a great response.
Yeah.
What good faith and trust in your relationship. That's a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, you've been, I guess we'd say, solopreneur for a few years now without the full-time job. How has solopreneurship changed your life?
Oh, it's been, I mean, my life in some ways, it looks very similar. Like, it hasn't really changed dramatically. But it really has shifted everything for me. So I remember when right when I left the bank, I had this incredible feeling of having this clean slate. Like, I had this, all of a sudden my life, I had this blank canvas, because when you're working in a corporate job, a lot of your life is dictated to you, 40 hours a week is dictated to you. And so all of a sudden I no longer have a boss. Like, I'm completely fully responsible for my income, my business, the decisions I make. And I just felt this huge freedom. So, and that feeling has not gone away. I mean, it's been almost 3 years, and even I still work very hard. I put in a lot of hours, but there's just that underlying freedom, time freedom. We travel more. We go for walks every day. In the summer, we're out on our bikes, cycling, doing different stuff. So it's just, it's a great flexible life. Yeah.
That's great, man. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. It's the thing that you desired when you're looking
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 years out to say, what do I want to be doing? And as you said, you feel passionate about it, and it feels like
Mm-hmm.
fun instead of a pain where somebody's kind of looking down your neck saying, "Hey, have you got that thing done?" Let's talk
Yeah.
specifically about freelance writing and editing,
Mm-hmm.
just because what you've just shared might be pretty inspiring for folks if they're considering a solopreneur career. How do you make money freelance writing and editing? Can you just talk to us as like we're brand new to this topic, and how do people make money doing what you're doing?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure there's lots of different ways to make money as a writer. There are. For me, I write, personal finance content primarily. I also write digital marketing content for one specific client, and I edit for. So all of my work is done for online publishers. So the big websites. Anytime you see articles, personal finance articles on various online publishing sites, websites in North America, so the US and in Canada. So I write and edit content on those. So I will have uh, I I have currently about 8 or 9 clients, and so sometimes you might lose a client. You might have 6 or 7, but I try to. My comfort zone is to have about 8 or 9 clients, which is what I currently have. And yeah, so I'll just I write. I don't know off the top of my head. Like I last year I was editing and writing about 100 pieces of content a month, mostly editing. But right now I'm probably writing about 15 or 20 articles a month, and then editing for a few sites a lot of content.
Got it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
and for them to pay you good money,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's working well for them
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, because these are large publications
Mm-hmm.
that end up making a lot of money through advertising, affiliate marketing, and the like. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Now, can you
Yeah.
share how much money you're making each month, just so people get an understanding of this being a good livelihood for them?
Yeah. So I was thinking back, 2024, I did about 150,000. And so far in 2025, I'm on pace for about the same. It was a couple, and that's the thing with freelancing is some months it's never consistent, right? It's not that biweekly paycheck. So, but right now it's quite busy. So things can change. But yeah, about say $12,000 a month would be average.
That's great. And this is sufficient to fund your family's lifestyle at this point in your life. Is that correct?
It is. We are a single income family. My wife is a homemaker, but we do live in a low cost of living area, and we kind of watch our expenses and that kind of thing. So it's more than enough. Hmm.
Got it. And then hours wise, how does this compare to what you used to do? How many hours you working per week? Things like that.
Yeah, that's a good question because people ask me that all the time. They always want to know how many hours I work, and I never know what to say because I really don't work like a 9 to 5. Some freelancers might get up at 6 every morning and be at their desk and working till 5 o'clock and then clock out kind of thing. I'm not like that at all. It's just my personality. But I probably put in about 30 to 35 hours with freelance work. And then I have my own kind of side projects and business that I'm working on. And so that maybe takes up another, 10, 15 hours a week. So I'm definitely working 40 plus hours a week. But what for me it'll look like is I'll get up and I'm not a really early riser. So
You don't have to be.
no, no, I wait. I don't set an alarm. I just wake up when I wake up. But I'm not talking noon or something. Like I'm up at, 8 o'clock usually. And then quick breakfast, and then I like to get to the desk, spend a few hours in the morning, have lunch with my wife, and then if we have something to do in the afternoon, an errand run, or we'll go for a walk or something, I might take a little break and then work for a couple hours. And then sometimes I like to work in the evenings, and so that's why I meant my days kind of spread out differently than some probably. Is I will like to after dinner just to go and put in a couple hours in the evening. That kind of thing. And I'll even work some on weekends quite often. So I'll work like on a Saturday morning for a few hours. I don't try, I try not to work 7 days a week.
Sure.
But quite often I'm only doing 2 or 3 hours a day. So,
Got it.
mhm, yeah,
But on this hits on your earlier point. When
yeah.
you're doing work that you really enjoy, it doesn't feel as much like work. Is that correct?
I love it. Like, I'm passionate about it. Like, I'm not saying it's not hard. It can be hard, and there's challenges, but I love the work I do. I love I'm a creative person. I'm a musician. I'm a songwriter. And so I love just creating content, whatever kind of content. And so, yeah, it's something I'm passionate about.
I love that. Now, if you
Mm-hmm.
and your wife were considering taking a holiday or doing something for a period of time, does
Mm-hmm.
your current situation offer that type of flexibility?
Absolutely. Like, it's a blessing to be able to just travel like that and not have to check, can we coordinate vacation time, and do we have enough vacation time, and what time of year can we go. And so, like, I'll give you a small example. Usually my wife and I travel together, but about a month ago, or a couple months ago, my mom called up and she said, hey, I'd like to travel to the West Coast to see my brother. She has two brothers that are, quite getting up there in years. And she really wanted to go and see them. She's like, would you mind going with me? So I was like, instantly, "Yeah, absolutely, I'll go. So when do you want to go? Like, I can go next week. I can go in a month. So a month later, she flew out. She came to our place for a couple of days. We then hopped on a plane, went to see her family, or our family, her brothers. Had a wonderful time. Had an amazing time with my mom. It was so good. And yeah, just came back. But we have that. I just have that flexibility that I can travel very, very easily and very quickly. So
I love that. Now,
mm-hmm.
let's talk to the person who's listening right now and saying, you know what, that sounds pretty nice. He's got something he enjoys. I heard
Mm-hmm.
him say $12,000 a month. That's fantastic. What about somebody getting into it today? If you're able to dedicate some time and you're interested in this, this could quickly become $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month to get started. Is that fair enough to say?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was making probably $1,000 a month within about 6 months of starting, and I had a great client that helps. My first client was an excellent client, and probably $2,000 a month within about a year while working at my job. Yeah,
That's great. I mean, that
yeah,
could be life changing for a lot of folks right now who are looking just for a little extra, whether that's to pay the bills or to just do the extra family fun, call it
yeah.
vacations or helping out their kids with activities and things.
Yeah, you know what? You make a really good point, because I've always felt this way. $500 a month on the side of your 9 to 5, and the side of your regular job, is really, it doesn't sound like much to some people. It's very, very significant, because think about this. How much of a raise would you have to get at your job to take home an extra $500 a month? Right? You would, like, because when most companies are paying out, small cost of living raises of 1 or 2% at the end of the year or whatever, like, you might, depending on your income, your job, what you do, you might have to work 4 or 5 years to see an extra $500 a month in your paycheck. And so it's very, very powerful.
I agree, and I think what you've taught me for this conversation is just leaning into your expertise too. So maybe you don't work in the former banking world or the finance world where you have that type of expertise, but maybe you work in healthcare, maybe you work in a different field where that type of content expertise could become a really big selling point for you. And now I know you are helping people along with in this area, whether that's one-on-one coaching or
Mm-hmm.
if people are interested in working with you as a writer. Please tell people where they can connect with you and more about your services.
Yeah, the best way to connect with me, I do send out a free weekly newsletter, and where I share like a story, an idea, a tip on, that can help you leave the 9 to 5, like that helped me leave the 9 to 5. And I also just launched a new Facebook community called the 9 to 5 Escape Project. So I would love, if you're interested, if you're feeling kind of stuck like I was, I just encourage you to jump in and join the community. I hang out there every day, so I'm very easy to get a hold of. And then I do have a free video course, a 7-day video course, and it's you can sign up for it on my website, or in my newsletter. And basically, it just walks through the exact 7-step roadmap that I use to build my business and walk away from the corporate world. And then I am offering one-to-one coaching. So for people who they know they want to do something, they know they need to make a change. They don't want to be working till 60, 65, just chasing a pension like I was. But they need some help. They need some accountability. They have no clue where to start. If you're interested in putting in some work and kind of diving deeper into it, you can reach out to me about one-to-one coaching. I'll help you create like a personalized roadmap, and you can just email me. I can give you a link for a free introductory coaching call. You could share that kind of thing.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. What's the best website for people to go to learn more about these options?
ColinGraves.com is my personal website, and you can join the newsletter there. And then on Facebook, the 9 to 5 Escape Project is my Facebook community.
Excellent. Well, I will have all those links, everybody, in the show notes of the podcast, as well as on our YouTube channel. Colin, thank you so much for your time today, man. This was a great conversation, and congratulations on this awesome solopreneur life that you've created for yourself.
Thanks, Andy. It was great to be here.